Well, it was creepy and kooky. Not so much mysterious and spooky. I'm 50-50 on the ooky. We're talking about the Addams Family. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And I am going to go ahead and put this on the table right now. I am actually a really big Addams Family fan.
So am I.
But not from the movies. I know most people my age, they got into it with the movies that they did. I always thought the movies were just okay.
I remember watching the first live-action movie. I didn't watch the sequel, and
the sequel's really bad.
Yeah, I don't really remember much from the live-action movie except that I watched it. I actually used to watch the original show on Nick at Night.
Same here.
And the cartoon, series on Cartoon Network.
Yes, I watched both of those things, and those are what got me into it.
Yeah,
the cartoon,
same here.
I was always like, this is pretty alright. I thought the cartoon was alright, but I love that old show.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always kind of wanted to see them come back in one way, shape, or another. And we've now got an animated version of them.
An animated film.
An animated film, because yes, we did have the cartoon before. And I know a lot of people out there were really upset about the design of them. I actually like the design of the Addams Family because it looks like the old actual cartoon.
Yeah, like the original comic.
The comic, yes, that's what I should have said, yes.
The Addams Family was actually a comic before it even became a TV show or anything. So.
Yeah, and these designs actually resemble what they look like in there, and I actually appreciate that.
I do too.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really cool thing that they decided to do with this, like the big sunken eyes, like Gomez being a lot more squat in shape, Morticia being like just skeletal, Pugsley just being like an egg in shape, the giant head on Wednesday, thank you. Yeah, I actually like the design that they did with all of them. There's a lot of other things in this film that I didn't like.
Nah.
But there are some other things that I did like. This entire film, for almost every single thing that I enjoyed, there was another thing that made me go, I don't know about that. Like, it was so back and forth constantly. And speaking of the designs on these characters, the purpose of this film is that the Addams Family, they left their home in the old country. Which is something I always liked about the Addams Family, is that the Addams Family aren't really supernatural.
No.
I mean, they've got Thing. But even on the old TV show, Thing was never really explained. Like, it could just be some guy on the wall, for all you know. But yeah, so they had Thing, but that was like the most supernatural thing they had. Everything else in there, it was kind of just more meant to be, they're just kind of weird European people. Yeah,
just like very weird Gothic families.
Yeah, they're just like this weird family from a country that apparently this is how it works in their country, and I don't know, it's okay, sure. But here, they end up moving into this big haunted house after they're kicked out of the old country, and they establish a new life there. You get a little bit of like the origin story behind them, which I thought was kind of a nice thing. But they move into this house, and they're in New Jersey, and down past the fog, at the bottom of the hill that they live on, is this nice, pristine village. And the town, it's this town that was completely designed by this person from it's a Home and Garden ripoff channel.
Yeah.
It's called Home and Garden Hag.
No, Home Art and Garden. H-A-G, Hag.
Yeah. But that's kind of a nice thing. But she has recently designed an entire town.
Yeah.
And she is trying to sell 50 houses to people in order to make the money back on this. And then all of a sudden, the swamp gets drained, so that means that all the fog disappears around their house, and now they can see the village, and the village can see them. So this village that wants to, bring people in, they now have to deal with, and there's a big creepy mansion at the top of the hill. And
it reminded me a lot of Edward Scissorhands.
Oh my god, yeah, totally. 100%. It very much is.
It's like it got this little pristine village where all the houses are pastel colors and look exactly the same.
Yes.
And then you have this big giant dark creepy house manor on top of a hill looking over everything.
Even the lead villain, I guess you want to say, the lady who runs the home renovation show.
Yeah.
She has a hairdo that looks like a Tim Burton creation. So I think that maybe some art style was taken from inspiration there. But as I mentioned, when it comes to design, I actually like the design of the Addams Family, and I like the design of their house. I hated the design of every normal person in that town, and I kept having to tell myself, I think it's done on purpose, because they all look so basic.
Yeah.
And I get that that's meant to be the premise of this. The premise of this film is that, oh, you should embrace being different and being who you want to be, which this is very clearly made for children. And when I say children, I mean like 8, 9, 10 years old. So it's like, okay, I get that that is who you're aiming at. And that is certainly a fine message. You want to put that in a kid's film? Great. And hey, man, Addams Family, we found it when we were kids. I'm not going to be poo-pooing you introducing Addams Family to the kids out there. But even though the message in here is you should be yourself, and everyone in this town, they all think the same. There's even like a moment in there in which like the Glee Club is singing a song about like what's so great about being yourself when you can be like everyone else or something like that. Which is such a lazy, cheap ass, like, we get it. Like, everyone in the audience gets the plot. Like, you do not have to actually come in here and sing the plot in here. And if you're going to do it, you should really have better lines.
Yeah, like everything that's awesome from the Lego movie was a way better example.
Oh my god, it was such a better one. It's very clear that that is meant to be the premise, that all the people in this town, they all think and act exactly the same as one another, and you shouldn't do that. You should be different from each other. And yeah, okay, that's good. So I can understand if you want to say they all wear like similar looking shirts and they all live in similar looking houses, but like the texture on all of them is crappier than it is on the Addams Family. Like all of them have like really poorly rendered skin. Like the assistant for the home renovator, she's got this person walking around with like a phone all the time.
The home renovator's name is Margaux, by the way. So.
Margaux's assistant, who's one of these characters walking around with like a phone the whole time, like, okay, this time you gotta do this, and I'll make you know about that. Okay, we'll get right on that, boss. He is just such. I kept looking at like his expression, and there'd be moments where he was supposed to be making some kind of expression, but he just had these big, soulless, dead eyes, and like the pupils just kind of moved around a little bit, and his face. Again, like, it literally was just a triangle that just kept opening and closing every now and again. It really reminded me of, like, something that you would see on, like, a 3D anime, like, I don't know, Nick Jr. show? Or, I don't know. It's been years since I've seen what the hell Nickelodeon has on, but I remember when I was a kid and they tried to do some 3D animated stuff, I was like, oh, no. Even if this is the hot new thing, I know this looks terrible in here. But yeah, it looks like something made for television and not a good made for television thing. And again, I can give you some slack with the whole they're all supposed to be the same, but that only extends to like character design, which even still, like you could have done some more of that. There's so many it's a round guy with a round nose and round head. You could have mixed it up a little bit more in here for that. So there's, I won't look at them and go like, I think that's what you were trying to do, but still like, the quality on them is so much poorer. And the quality of like just the texture on the streets, like it looks like sometimes the Addams are just like floating through the town almost, because it doesn't feel like they're actually like connecting their feet to anything. This looks really cheap when you get away from the Addams mansion. And it's one of those things where I think they were trying to do that on purpose, but the end result is not good. I really think that this just looks like a poor quality thing when you actually like judge what you came up with. But again, I have to clarify, I'm not saying that about the Addams. I think the Addams are great.
No, the Addams are great. Everything else that needs improvement.
Yes, exactly.
So I guess we should start moving along with the plot.
The plot, it's the Addams. They are in this town. We already kind of mentioned a little bit. Margaux wants to give them a free home renovation in order to like welcome them to the neighborhood.
And basically like conform them.
Yes. She wants to gentrify the Addams family.
Yeah.
Wants to knock down their lion den and put in a Starbucks. So she wants to go up there and do that, but she basically was being a complete dick about it. But the Addams, they don't understand that. They just think it's like hospitality, which there's some pretty good jokes that they put in here about the Addams in like modern times. And honestly, I was really worried about that. I mean, there's not a lot of really good ones, but there's some decent ones.
Yeah, it's like...
But at no point does, like, Gomez put on a backwards baseball cap and talk about wiggity whack, y'all. No, there's none of that. The moment that I saw that Snoop Dogg was going to be playing Cousin Ant, I went, oh, dear God, no.
Here's the thing, it's like... I know Cousin It. He's like this little furry thing, and he does like jibber jabbers. So it's like I wasn't too worried about Snoop Dogg playing it because I thought he was just going to be like faux shizzle my nizzle.
I thought it was going to be faux shizzle a lot, but no, it is literally just
like I think it's just Snoop Dogg talking but backwards and high pitched.
I think it might have been that. Yes, I think they did something with that. It's like, okay, you know what? That's actually not bad. Like,
yeah.
But I did have to stop and question, what was the point of getting Snoop Dogg in here? And I know that, so you can say, oh, because you got like a big name in there. Again, this is aimed at like 8, 9, 10-year-olds.
It's like,
do they know who Snoop Dogg is?
I don't know why, but like I always found it very funny when they get like a big name star only to have them like voice like a character that only says like one thing. I always thought that was a very funny thing.
It's so weird to me. It's like when they got like for the Chipmunks films, they wanted to get like an all-star cast for the Chipmunks. It's like, no one's going to be able to tell. No one is coming to this film for them either. Like, no one is going into this movie because they're a Snoop Dogg fan. Like, you spent money on nothing. I feel like that is something that we need to remind the studio of with this decision.
That's where all the money went when they could have rendered the village and everything.
Yes. Snoop Dogg took away some rendering cash on that one.
But Margaux, the home garden lady, she has a daughter named Parker and like Wednesday.
You want to talk about bad character designs, by the way. Oh my God. Parker is an awfully designed character. I'm sorry. She has got her eyebrows, her eyes, her nose, and her mouth all like that close to each other. It is, again, kudos to you on trying to make a different character, trying to make a distinct character. But you look at this and you go, that is like, you know when you look at someone who's like a 20-year-old playing a teenager and you're like, that's not a teenager. Mm-hmm. This is looking at an animated cartoon character and going, that's a 40-year-old smoker. That's what that is a woman who just came from bingo halls like, geez, I almost had him, but then they dropped the wrong number in there. I just kept looking at her the entire time going, who okayed this decision?
Like, that's just her face, but like the rest of her body is like skinny, weird, like, I don't know.
It is, which again, I think that they were trying to do that on purpose, trying to say, yes, she's not like the pretty nice people in there. But it's, again, it comes off just kind of looking like, yeah, she does, like, if you want to do like an exaggerated character design, the Addams. Mm-hmm. She doesn't, her exaggerated character is, as I said, she looks like a 40-year-old woman trying to dress up like a teenager. She looks like the, hello, fellow kids. Like, at the end of this film, spoiler alert, at the end of this film, it was revealed that Margaux was doing some illegal stuff to spy on the entire neighborhood. If they wanted to come in here at the end and go, I'm not your actual daughter, Marge Sampson of the FBI, I've been undercover this entire time, I would not have been shocked at all. But there's other character designs in here that are also terrible. Like, she's got 2 characters in there who are twins, who pop up for 2 scenes for no god, like, they're supposed to be recurring characters.
Yeah.
And they drop their asses.
You can tell that there was a lot cut from this movie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the weird thing is, it felt like it went on too long.
Yes.
I felt like
There were so many times in this film that I thought, I'm done watching this now.
Here's the thing,
Please end.
It was too long on the unimportant parts, and not long enough on the important and entertaining parts.
Yes.
Like, there was a scene, like, after school where Parker invites Wednesday over to the mall, and I was like...
You never see that.
I was waiting for a montage. I wanted to see these two, like, bond and, like, develop character, and, like, there'd be, like, so many good character gags.
Take the typical mall shopping montage, but put Wednesday Addams in there, the joke writes itself in there.
Exactly.
And they didn't do it.
That's the thing. The thing about this movie is I wanted more of the Addams family being the Addams family.
Yeah. Weird concept.
I didn't care about the people in the village.
Nobody does. But yeah, and it's so weird how much stuff is cut from you because like those twins also have just a terrible character design. They look like, I am not kidding you, I finally realized what they look like. The entire time I was looking at those twins going, what the hell do they look like? You know the animated children in those like Kleenex puff commercials?
Oh my God, you're right.
100% them on like the torture stretch rack. Just with long noodly arms and legs. That is 100% what they look like. That's not a good character design for anything longer than a commercial. Like, when this was over with, we were talking about the character designs, and you said to me, they feel like they came from a prescription drug commercial. Mm-hmm. Like, that was what you just described. I said, yeah, absolutely. All the characters in here feel like they come from prescription drug commercials. Like, just that cheap-ass let's make nothing like, nothing distinct enough. Just hammer this thing out there to make it look like nice and calm. And again, you gotta say, like, some of that was definitely on purpose because that's supposed to be the tone of the town. But everybody in this town was such poor quality. Again, I have to come back to it. If you're going to have them all at least look like that, render them the correct amount of time. Like, I'm a big video game fan. You guys all know that. This felt like the Addams Family were PS4 walking into a PS2 game at times. It was that much of a drop in quality. I've never described a movie as looking like last-gen graphics, but that's entirely what this looked like. This really does look like straight-to-DVD graphics at times. Sorry. But yeah, those twins, they're in there for literally like 2 lines, but they're clearly there to be future jokes that never come back. And what bugs me so much is that at the end of this thing is Margaux leading an entire angry mob up to the Addams Family house, and they're not there in the crowd shot. Instead, you have just a bunch of like copy and pasted characters over and over again. It's like, you had characters in the computer you could have used for this scene that needed more characters, and you forgot about them even then. You forgot these characters exist even when you need a crowd shot. It's so... it really feels like there were 2 different groups working on this film. And one of them was so lazy and did not care, and the other group actually kind of cared. But even then, the Addams Family has a lot of jokes in here that I just looked at and went, why in God's name did you do that? Like, the beginning of this thing is Gomez and Morticia's wedding. And they're there, and there's the, like, whoever it is that marries them, I don't know. Because I don't think they get a priest to marry them. But it's the person who's marrying them, and he's giving the whole, like, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. I don't know what voice he was trying to do there, but he was definitely impersonating someone. He goes, we will now go to the classic Addams tradition to symbolize our love. You put the lime in the coconut, and then you drink it up. And then everybody in the crowd puts a lime in a coconut and drinks them and went, what in God's name does that have to do with it? That's not like a spooky thing. That's not like a supernatural. That's not a gothic thing. That's like Jimmy Buffett lyric. What in God's name does that have to do with anything? And it'd be one thing if that was like a topical like reference. When was the last time anyone referenced you put the lime in the coconut and then you drink it up? When was the last time anyone referenced that? And again, this is aimed at kids. What kid is going to get that joke? It's one of those jokes that it's there for the parents, but it's such a, I mean, why do the parents even want that joke? I have to keep coming back around to this. What in God's name does that have to do with the Addams Family? And not just like their characters, but I mean like tone-wise. It's so weird. It'd be like if instead, it's like one notch below if they said, and now we celebrate your marriage in the classic Addams tradition by grabbing our boogie boards and going hang 10, buddy. It's like that level of difference from what we should be getting in this film. But it got a lot better after that. That was one of the first jokes in this film and I went, oh God, no. Got a lot better after that, I gotta admit. Like, the jokes actually did start getting kind of better. There's a lot of really clever things in here that they did. Like, one of the updates that they did in this is that they took a lot of parental concerns that parents have these days and twisted it for Addams Family stuff. Like, Wednesday comes home at one point wearing pink. And Morticia says, you know that pink is a gateway color. That's like a modern thing that a parent would say, twisted for like Addams. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's like, but that's another thing. It's like, it's not just about like the village persecuting the Addams for being different. It's also like the Addams, like Morticia mostly like not approving of Wednesday being different.
And I kind of like that. That's something that you don't really like that you would never think of.
Yeah,
with an Addams Family story. I kind of dug that idea. That's actually kind of nice. There's also like another story in there of Pugsley trying to get ready for what's called the Mazooka. Yeah. Which is equivalent. Basically, it's the Addams Family bar mitzvah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the whole today you become a man thing.
Yeah. With sword fighting.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's the Addams.
And I will say, I kept expecting that to be one of those like subplots that either I hated or they forgot about. I was okay with it. It wasn't my favorite part of the film, but I was okay with it, and they did come back to it the appropriate amount of times. Like, Uncle Fester showed up and said, "Oh yeah, they said that you needed some help preparing for the Mazuka," and I was like, "Oh, we're not gonna see him for a while. They're gonna forget about that." And then they do forget about it for a little while, but then he comes back and they do something with it. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. Speaking of the Addams themselves, I think the cast is pretty good here.
Yeah.
I think that Oscar Isaac is maybe the most miscast, but that might just be because it is really hard for me to picture anyone doing Gomez differently. And because I think that Raul Julia in the movies did a pretty darn good job, but I think that the actor from the original show is just really freaking amazing in that role. He even did him in the cartoon when they did that on Cartoon Network. But Raul Julia is actually but Oscar Isaac is trying to do him a little bit different while still trying to capture like the similar vibe of him. It's like, okay, you do all right, but I think everybody else in here is actually great. I think that Nick Kroll as Uncle Fester, pretty damn good. The one that really got me was what's her face as Wednesday Addams.
Oh, what was her?
Chloe Grace Moretz, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because I remember it was an actress that was like, I'm not really a fan of you in anything. And, oh, okay, actually you did good in this. Okay, all right, cool. All right, not bad. I was really stunned at Charlize Theron, though, as Morticia, because I would never have guessed that was her. Like, not even close. It's one of those where I'm honestly wondering if I, like, am remembering this wrong, but no, that was who played her. And, yeah, she was great in here. Bette Midler, also, like, not in this enough. She should have been in this way more, because she was actually probably the best in this entire film. So yeah, the Addams themselves, pretty darn good. The house is great in here.
Yeah.
I like the origin story of the house and the origin of Lurch. Is really good.
Basically the origin of the Addams.
Yes. All that stuff is pretty good in here. And there's so many small moments in here that I liked. So many like real quick things, like when they are driving into New Jersey for the very first time. They end up hitting Lurch with their car, and when they hit him, Morticia and Gomez gasp, and then they go, "We hit something," but they're smiling with
they're excited about
That's a cute. See, that actually fits like the Addams Family style humor in there. That's really good. And there's a lot of like really subtle things in here that you don't notice. Like there was one shot that I was really impressed with. It was a shot looking down at what was the home guardian lady?
Margaux.
Margaux. And which it's after Margot's been in the house and like going, well, we need to change this and change that. She comes walking in and it's a shot like looking down at them in the bottom left corner in a shadow. There's a blob-like figure with eyes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And they don't stop and focus on it. It's in the bottom corner of the screen. It's not in the center where everything is happening. And all it's there is just to like slowly crawl back out of shot. That's really good. All right, way to go with that, man. Like, there's a few things in here that when they nail what they're going for with the Addams Family, I feel like it deserves some applause in there. Like, one thing they add in here, I don't remember, it's been forever since I saw the show, but I don't remember if the house was actually haunted.
I don't remember either, but I do like what they did with that.
But they made the house haunted, and I like that the house now constantly tells them to get out, and they're just like, oh, you. There's a great gag in here in the beginning where Morticia, she goes, oh, you're always so grumpy when you haven't had your coffee, and then she pours coffee into the toilet, flushes it, and then you just see the walls go, oh. Like breathing signs like, that's pretty good, that's not bad, all right, that's pretty good. There's some other things, though, that I do kind of come in here and just wag my finger and go, that's not Addams Family. Like, Pugsley, he loves explosives. Yeah, that was always part of Pugsley in here. Yeah. That was always good. But when they introduced that, it's him riding a rocket with like a saddle on, riding it, trying to have it hunt down Gomez. And Gomez is doing like the Matrix lean back.
It's like, I always thought like Uncle Fester was the one who was into explosions.
He was definitely, but Pugsley kind of took it.
Yeah.
It's always weird. Pugsley always looks more like Uncle Fester than like Gomez, I've always thought.
Well, that's where all the genes went, I guess.
I guess. I mean, they're brothers. They're our brothers, so it would like, you know, you could still all get that from your grandpa, yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, you see him like riding around on a rocket, like the long ass action scenes of Pugsley jumping around in slow motion, shooting bombs out at his dad. This is not Addams Family. Come on, no, we didn't need this. Like, I get it's aimed at kids, but you've got a big weird house here with crazy things, and there's enough stuff you can do in here for kids while still matching the tone of the Addams Family in here. Trying to think of something else that I wanted to talk about in here. Yeah, there's just so many other sequences in here where I did kind of just roll my eyes really hard at what they tried to do with the Addams. Not a lot of them are popping out to me right now, but again, for almost everyone that I liked, there was another one that I disliked. But that's only speaking with the Addams. When it comes to the actual village itself, I just really didn't care about any of that. Like, I was totally, like, just checked out. But I do think that, I have to remind myself this is for kids, and I think that, it's a good enough message for kids. But I know for a fact other films for kids have done this same message better, so I can only judge it so much. I can only give it so many points. And I do think that's a decent enough introduction to the Addams Family for kids out there. And again, this could have been worse. As I said, they do try and update this, and it's shocking to me how many of the updates were actually pretty decent. Like, Gomez going into a coffee shop actually was a very good sequence in here, and the payoff to that joke was one of the better jokes in this whole thing. That was actually one of the best payoffs to any joke in this entire thing, and that could have just gone so sour, but it actually worked. Or here's one that I actually really dug. They gave Thing an iWatch.
Yes.
And the iWatch, iWatches, they've got that screen that you can have any image display on there. It's got an actual eye on there.
Yes, so like he can show emotion.
They gave Thing an eyeball so he can have emotions. Any time in which you go, well, now they're in the modern age, and now they're going to be confused by technology, and what's this cell phone? Oh, don't you want to see that classic beloved character of yours not know how a television works or anything like that? No, they never stop and do that with this.
They actually do have a television. That's how they introduce Margaux and everything.
Yes.
So.
Yes. But like the not iPhone, but the iWatch thing, that's actually a smart thing to do for them, and actually it worked. And they never stopped to like make it crazy or give it like too much. It was just an additional way to give things some emotions in there, and I like that. It's really honestly shocking to me how many of the updates they did here did not feel like out of place or anything. It's weird that in most of these films where they take an older property and try and make it new and try and make it funky fresh for the kids out there, that's always the worst stuff about it. And this film, yeah, I've got a lot of problems with it, but that's not one of them. Anything else you want to say about this?
Not really. It's like I said, I just want more of the Addams Family being the Addams Family.
I am hoping that this did well enough because I know it wasn't #1 at the box office, but it was cheap. So maybe it'll do well enough to get another one, and then maybe they get some people in there who can, rewrite this thing, actually put a little bit more money into it.
You might hate me for this, but I actually kind of want a crossover between Hotel Transylvania and the Addams Family, because I know they're working on a 4th Hotel Transylvania movie, which
What studio made this?
Sony.
Oh, so it is the same company.
Yeah, I do believe it is. So
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Actually would fit really well. At least for like a straight to DVD kind of
exactly.
thing, something like that. It'd be weird to do as a whole movie, but yeah, it'd be a fun crossover to see. Since this is new enough, we will give it a score. I gotta come down like right in the middle as a 5 on this, because am I upset I saw it? No. Could I have gone without seeing it? Yes. But am I mad that I saw it? No. I'm constantly going back and forth on it. Like, it is really shocking how for every one thing I liked, there was something in here that I disliked. So, yeah, straight right down the 5.
I'd probably give it I wanted to give it a higher score because I do love the Addams Family, but it did just fall a little bit flat, so I might give it a 6 or something.
When we walked out here, I was going to give it a 6, but as we were sitting here talking about the stuff that I disliked, I was like, I'm going to give this a 4. So it kind of evened out to me to a 5. So, but yeah, I'm kind of like writing that same thing. It's like, yeah, I'm right in the middle, but it's got its moments, it's got its stuff in there, yeah. So, but yeah, so let us know what you thought about this film in the comments down below. We only have 2 days left of the post-Shriek reaction. Tune in tomorrow to see what other new release we're going to be talking about. So thank you guys very much for tuning in, and happy Halloween.
Bye.